Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would you please join us for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. We just want to introduce our new student board member, Mr. Christopher Pasalis. Welcome. We are going to move to item number 2 is correspondence. Do you have anything? We don't have anything tonight. Moving to item number 3 is public comment session for items that are on tonight's agenda. I have no one signed up at this point. Oh, did you? Ken, you have something? It's Ken Walters.
There we are. Okay. First thing has to do with the superintendent's report or whatever one it was. Tri-Valley administrative updates. It's one of the things I pushed for on the county level that finally the legislature acquiesced and made a resolution for as a policy. Whenever you use acronyms, please spell them out first. I have no idea what PLC means. I have no idea what not PE. Well, PE is even one of them, but AIS means. Unfortunately, in government talk, everybody who works in it knows their silo, but nobody knows it outside. If anybody wants to do research, there's no way to find out. So please do that, correct that. I'm going to take a little extra time on a couple other things because you called this meeting on a day I got another meeting. So I'll probably be scooting out of here shortly. When I gave you this thing last week or last month, those things that are underlined are live links on that website. So any opinion, you go to that website, look at that opinion, and you look at that opinion and see and read that opinion yourself. At the end of the last meeting, you mentioned something about talking about policy is very specific in the open meetings law. The only thing you are allowed to, you have to go into executive session, sure, or if it's by statute. Any other is permissive. So you just can't go into executive session and talk policy. That is a public business and should be done in public. If you're going to increase or talk about positions or anything like that, that's also done in public. You just cannot do that in executive session because everything basically does affect people, but still it's policy and everybody should know what goes to thinking into it. On your agenda, number 16, new business, memorandum of agreement, either put the position or put the person's name. So if anybody is looking to check something out, they have to they do not have to do a search and destroy mission to try to find that person or that position and find out what the MOA is. So if you have it on the front page, you know that it's going to be person X, person B, okay? It would be much easier for everybody, including yourselves, what's coming up. I was on your website, which I find very difficult to get around sometimes. But that's one of the suggestions I have there to make it much clearer for everybody. And I'll leave that there. I picked up a public comment of Board of Meetings, and I've already crossed out some things. I don't think they comport with the open meetings law very drastically. One of the things I do when I wake up at night and can't go back to sleep, I go to the website, so I go to sleep, and I keep reading these opinions. So I'm very fluent in them, especially when it comes to executive session. And this one here, especially, what was it? Number one I crossed off was, let's see. Needing permission. That's verboten. It's totally verboten. And the sign on the sheet totally verboten, not required. Nobody needs to tell who they are. And technically, anybody who speaks to this mic can do it anonymously. And if they give their name, you must put it in the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to item number 4 is presentation and guests. We have 2 things tonight, and 4A is the district insurance presentation by Mr. Richard Biebenroth and Mr. Dwight Kuhn. Welcome.
All right, thanks. What's that? Good evening. Rich Biebenroth, Dwight Koob from Sprague and Killian. Want to just talk to you a little bit about district insurance presentation and some of the changes we did and why we made these changes. So currently, well, we were insured with NYSER, which is the New York School Insurance Reciprocal. They've been a good partner to our team, to our district. Though unfortunately, AM Best, who does credit ratings and rates the financial stability of different corporations and insurers, dropped them from an A- to a B and then to a C++. And then NYSER withdrew from AM Best. They didn't agree with the opinion. They thought they didn't have to be rated, so they decided to withdraw. NYSER is a reciprocal. So a reciprocal means that all members are liable for losses for the percentage of that they're paying into the insurance program. So if there is another district has a huge catastrophic loss, we could be liable to pay for some of their losses. If they're underfunded, if NYSER is underfunded, they would look at what percentage of the total overall insurance that we've paid. So it'll be like, 0.012, and then the amount of the loss, and we could be liable under a reciprocal. With their credit rating, it looked like it might have been a good time to look for what other options were out there. We were part of their reciprocal for 5 years. So any claims that happen within that 5 years, we could be liable. Odds are not, but duly, we have to fiscally responsible to make sure that we would do our research. So through Sullivan Boces and a number of districts, we did a request for proposal. The first part of the proposal was that we wanted to meet, you have to decide an insurance agency. Utica does not write directly, and neither does any other insurance company. NYSER does write directly. So as part of the RFP process, we had multiple agencies were invited to present. They shared information, and on who would be authorized to gather us quotes. Tri-Valley awarded the bid to Sprague and Killian based on the analyzing the needs for the district. So what were our needs for the district, and who would serve us best? And we did go with Sprague and Killian. And we made a switch to Utica National. So we have no liability for other district losses. It's a straight insurance company. They're not a reciprocal, and they are A-rated for AM Best. Besides getting rid of any of that liability, it was a huge savings to our district. Our premium was $157,229 to $122,088. So we're saving $35,000 or almost 29%, which is a huge savings to the district. There are some differences in the insurance. Whenever you look at insurance, it's never apples to apples. No two policies are always the exact same. Somebody has an exclusion for this, somebody adds this. And I just wanted to be fair and highlight some of the changes. So Utica National valued our entire district buildings and contents at $99 million, NYSER at $79 million. So in the event of a catastrophic loss, we are covered for more insurance, but that would be everything we own. So that's not likely. Product liability, it's $3 million to Utica, $1 million for NYSER. Pollution, so pollution would be if we had an oil tank leak or a chemical leak. Not likely the way our building is set up and what we use. We it's not likely we'd have it, but Utica is only 100,000, where NYSER does give $1 million of coverage. This is probably not something that we're going to see as an issue. But cyber insurance, that is a possibility. You hear about schools being breached and stuff going on. Utica offers $1 million. NYSER is $125,000 in insurance. So that's a significant change. For our umbrella liability, NYSER does have a higher aggregate, which could come into play, but it also felt that it was a safe bet. If we have a $30 million loss, that would be a tremendous loss. Deductibles. NYSER is cheaper on the deductibles. These are not vehicle. Vehicle deductibles are different, but Utica is $5,000 to $10,000, depending on what the loss is. It's all different levels. Where NYSER is $2,500 to $5,000. But it was a gamble that seemed to make sense with saving $30-something thousand. Even if we have a claim, in the end, we're still going to be way ahead. And then also for their personal injury automobile, so that's somebody getting hurt, Utica offers triple. So for the most part, they're pretty comparable. The big things that we felt were in favor of Utica, besides the cost savings, but there are some things, to be fair to NYSER, that they do offer some better coverages. So now I have Dwight here. If you have any questions, please shoot away, and we can try to help you get through any of your questions.
Just in a nutshell, though, thanks, Rich. The process was very professional. Really appreciate the way Aaron, Rich, and Samantha worked with me, and we got things done. And it's an honor to be here to be able to help the district. This is my school. I'm excited about doing the right thing for you folks in the district. I think it'll be hopefully a long-term thing. But definitely a huge difference with Utica in that it's not a reciprocal. That is a scary point, and that's why we really tried to step it up this year to try to get something done. Coverage-wise, you each have a summary, and if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, for the next 3 hours, I'm going to talk and read you the policy. No. I think, the reality is that, everything from general liability, slips and falls, food product, anything we may have available to people as far as perceived product is covered. Employee benefits, for some reason we failed to get somebody in the health insurance program, and then there's a problem. We have coverage for that. Very unusual, but we have coverage for it for $3 million. Educators' legal liability is a very big area. It covers everybody for what you're doing, and if you're sued because somebody alleges that you're doing something wrong in how you're teaching, and how you're running the district. Employment practices, we can get into more detail on that at some point, but that's, regarding the hiring and so on, the processes. Abuse and molestation is a real problem in school districts, and we have $1 million per loss and $3 million, and we have an umbrella that covers over that. And then automobiles, $1 million, and then the $15 million umbrella. We also have crime coverage. It covers our tax collector, treasurer, internal auditors, and so on. That's a quick summary. There's a lot more. If anybody's really bored, this is great reading. But I want to thank you and thank everybody in the administrative office and their cooperation, and I'm looking forward to being a big part of the district moving forward. Questions?
Anybody? Questions?
His work with us. He's been a real advocate, getting us going, talking us through a lot of the questions we had. Very fiscally responsible for us to make this decision, but he's right around the corner. So we've already cleaned up some of our systems, as far as having all of our trailers, all of our registrations, all of our drivers, all of that stuff is now Dress Right Dress, and we do appreciate you helping us out. Looking forward to our partnership. As of July 1st. Yes.
I'm just asking if an audit was done on the whole place. The insurance company said it did, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to item number 4B, administrative reports.
All right, well, we wait. Just welcome to be back. It's nice to see everyone. Hope you all had a good tour and got to see some of the new things that we're doing. I don't know if anything stood out to you, but our maintenance crew is exceptional. This building always is clean. Kids are here, and at 3 o'clock, it doesn't even look like we had school for a week. They just do an exceptional job keeping everyone safe and making sure it's clean, and it just adds a level of respect that we can do. And the paint job that they've been doing really says Tri Valley now when you walk through the main hallway. So just a lot of good things moving in the right direction just to show some Bear pride and make sure our kids feel like this really is their home away from home. All right, I think we're up. All right, so I'm Frank Snyder. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction. So one of the big things we're going to be talking about this year is really building capacity in, we have the building being redone, but really in our staff so that they can better help our students. So some of the new things that we're doing is really working with our mentor coordinators to really help our brand new teachers. So this year we have 4 days of teacher orientation. There's the outline on the bottom where before it used to be 2 days and it's quick hit, it's in, it's out, but we felt we weren't getting enough support to them early on before they have the kids. It's a lot. The kids show up and then you're trying to learn to do a ERLA, which is a screener. You're trying to figure out all of our new programs. So we partnered with the TVTA and the mentors and got some more explicit training in. We're bringing in some people for the pre-K. We're using Sullivan County for model schools. So they're coming in to do some of the training with our programs. We are now getting training for our mentor coordinators themselves. So that first day, the mentees will be here doing all their paperwork, and then the mentors are going to actually get their own training on how to better be a mentor. They're going to be focusing on some tasks like learning how to journal effectively and kind of co-collaborate with our team. And really, Sue and Renee have been excellent in just helping facilitate all this. One of the next biggest things is a new teacher academy where we're going to work throughout each month to really touch base with our teachers beyond just the mentor and mentee relationship. They meet once a month for about an hour after school with some of us. We get invited in to talk about data. This is going to be even more explicit, where during the day, we're going to take them, we're going to look at good classroom practices, look at their data one-on-one with them, really to get them that kind of head start so our kids can get the information they need. And then iReady, we started iReady last year. This year, we're doing a pilot with grade levels in the elementary school that wanted to pilot what's called Ready Math. So it's the math program that goes along with our screeners. So our kindergarten, second grade, fourth grade, and sixth grade, we didn't skip grades on purpose. Those are just the groups that really wanted to do it. So they've had the materials, they have the online component, and then on the 26th, the trainer's coming in to really dive in with them so they're ready to go as soon as school starts. So we've had some other summer trainings. We've had Ulster Bosie's back to work with our math department in the secondary school to really work on our Algebra 1 initiative, and really look at our geometry scores and where they went. We are having a writing revolution training. That's some of our new writing program in the elementary school. We're actually training the trainer. So we'll have that expertise in here to help support growing that program. Because really, we teach explicitly, but if kids truly know about what they learn, they can write about it. And there's an effective formula to do that. And the writing revolution can be used in all curriculum, very systematic, but also very open to do things. So we decided to invest in a staff member here to be a train the trainer. Our administrator team had some training this summer in the data-wise process. So that's a system for really how do you look at data to get information to target intervention plans, what's going on with our kids and what's going on with our practice. How do we meld those two pieces to do better for our students? And then we're also looking at professional learning communities, the PLC. What does that look like? What does that mantra look like? How do we work in these meetings so they are truly effective and focused? So those are kind of some of our summer initiatives and where we're going next year. Does anyone have any questions?
I did have a question. You mentioned math scores. What percentage of students failed those?
So I can do region scores. They just released the 3 through 8, but they haven't released their statement, so we can't talk about it. Geometry went up. I believe 54% passed. I don't have it right in front of me at the moment. So it's better than it was. It's not where we need to be. And we're putting some other things in place to hopefully grow that the next couple of years. Is that the one you're specifically asking?
Yeah,
It went up. It's not where we want it to be, though. So it went up almost 13 points. I believe we're in the low 40s last year. So that's a 20% gain, but still nowhere where we need to be.
Could we have a report on all of our scores that was taken at the end of the year? I know it's hard to get right now, a lot of it's not in yet, but if we could get an update on how they're doing.
That is our plan. Once we have all of the data released from the state, we'll put together a presentation for you. Frank and I will co-present that and show you what we did, our growth, and where we need to go.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's almost time for our students to come back. As the board walked through this evening, they saw some of those preparations going on in the MTSS room. I was asked if there was anything that we needed for our MTSS students, and I said just the kids back. So we're eager to get the year started. There's been a lot of administrative work happening, and I'm going to kind of go backwards on my presentation, just talk a little bit about our MTSS district-wide team. They're going to be coming in tomorrow, so if I can't have the students, I'll at least take the staff. Our team is coming in. We have been planning for them to come in. We have a very full agenda. We'll be working tomorrow from 9 to 1. Included in our training tomorrow will be a panorama training. So as we have talked about, the district has begun the initiative of utilizing the Panorama Student Success Platform, which is something that is in tandem with all of our MTSS framework initiative. So we will be training the staff so that they can be more familiar with how that program works, because ultimately this district-wide team has a specific focus for 25-26, which is going to be to support the buildings with some of the tier 3, which are chronic absent students for the school year. So we have somewhat of a framework and a plan, but we're hoping with our team in tomorrow, we'll be able to really show them some of the information, some of the evidence that we have found that's consistent with those tier 3 chronic absent students. And together with all of our brilliant minds in one room, we can come up with a great plan in order to specifically address those students, those families, and be able to use this school year to try to see some improvement with those students. Our other students who are not necessarily meeting that threshold of chronic absenteeism just yet, there are building initiatives that are going to be happening, but for now, this team is going to be really focusing on those students who really seem to be struggling with a pattern of absenteeism. So I'm excited to have those guys back tomorrow, and I'm excited to be able to see some shifts in some of those attendance this school year. Working my way up, we have a secondary school request for assistance form. This is a form that the elementary school has used, and that is a form that is filled out by a teacher or a staff member. And there are particular areas that if a teacher has a concern regarding a student, they can check off one of the boxes or all of the boxes in the areas of academic concern, behavioral, social emotional, or for the secondary school, if there's a student as they're seeing and looking at the student's transcript that needs any kind of credit recovery. So that form will be launching this year for the secondary school. There was teacher input, specifically this MTSS district-wide team had input on that form, and everything is certainly, it has the ability to change. So as we put things in place, if we see that there is a need to try to make it better, of course, that's what we're going to continue to do as we continue to build this framework that is fill in this framework. And then finally, our Panorama Student Success Platform, as I mentioned before, all of the information that goes there comes from our school tool. School tool is our student management system that holds all of our kids' information in it. So whatever goes in there, we create these files by we, not me. Some of our staff here who know all the tech side of it, they create files that then upload to our student success platform. And that's how we build these really amazing profiles of students. What we're going to be adding to School Tool this year that will go into our Panorama Success platform is the ability to be able to see what extracurricular activities students participate in. How does that help us? Well, if we have a struggling student, for us to be able to go into Panorama and see, oh, this student plays soccer. So we can reach out to the soccer coach and see if that soccer coach can give us some insights into how we can best support the student. The same thing would work if a student is in a particular club, if they're part of the play. So that is something that we're going to be looking to have roll out this school year. Again, the more information we can have on each student, the better we feel as though we can support them as needed during each school year. Okay, any questions?
You developed a program in reference to absenteeism. Do you find it's just certain students every grade level they go, or is it a grade level that they have the most problem with? The same students.
That's certainly a great question. That's one of the things we're going to be having the team explore tomorrow. I can give you my opinion as to what I've noticed, and certainly we have an absent student who's chronic in the elementary school. You can see the connection to their secondary school sibling. In addition, there are certain pockets of students who, as you watch the trends of them throughout their school years, once they begin to cross over that threshold to be chronically absent, it is a perpetual issue as they continue on through their schooling. I don't want to give up too much of what my observations have been because I want to make sure that our teachers do some of that work as well. You know, looking at it as one person is much different than looking at it as a team, but I can certainly tell you what some of those trends are. I know that before when I've spoken about it, I've talked about some of our seniors, and in particular, a lot of times our senior class students have pretty low attendance as a grade level percentile wise. And there are lots of reasons for that, including some of them are going off to work in the afternoon. So a lot of them are preparing for their future. So you see that they are either late arriving to school or early to leave from school. So some of that is some of the data that we've been able to track. But now that I'm able to have this platform to study it, now I'm going to present it to our team. Ultimately, this district-wide team will be able to look at those trends and make recommendations back out so that we can be able to make change that will go across the board for everyone.
Is it a certain class of students, meaning athletes or extracurricular or academic? Is there a certain that's a little more than the others?
That's a great question. So that's one of the reasons why we really wanted to be able to get the extracurricular participation notation in there, because what you'll see is you'll have a student who is very engaged in football, for example, and football season, they have excellent attendance. Football season ends and suddenly their attendance begins to drop off. And you can see some of those trends build for each season, depending on what the student's preferences and their extracurricular activity. So that is where some of that information and being able to get our systems to read better is going to be very helpful to us, because you can certainly see there are certain students, even some students' names come to mind, that they will be just ride the line of academic eligibility for, let's say, the fall season. They'll kick it up because they want to play basketball in the winter, and then springtime, they completely fall off, and they are really needing some of our tier 3, most intense support. So those are in particular some of the students that we are going to be targeting this school year. Now we have enough trends and data and evidence to be able to say, all right, this is the student, and what this team is going to work on tomorrow is exactly what do we do now? So now we have this information. Which staff members are we going to be assigning to some of these students is certainly a possibility. So that as we're watching the students and some of these trends, we can get ahead of it and keep it from happening.
Thank you.
I have a question. How many employees make up the district team?
On a timer tonight. That district team right now, so we are looking at about 19, including Mr. Fantini and I. So we have 17 active district-wide team members. That includes faculty and staff. So it's teachers and some of our aides. Of course, our school counselors, psychologists, all of those are involved. We also have the elementary school assistant principal who's joining our team. And Mr. Fantini wears 2 hats. He's our MTSS as well as our secondary school administrative representative.
Got it. Were they asked directly to join this team, or it went out and you can join at your leisure?
Wonderful. So the last school year, we sent out a survey. There was a survey that was really seeking interest in who really wanted to be invested in some of this work. I can tell you anybody who wanted to be part of the team was adopted. However, because there was 19 voices that would have been in the room, we did divide them into 2 teams. So we separated where we had a quote advisory team that's led the way. And of course, a framework is no guide. So that was really the important part of this, which is why we wanted to limit the amount of voices at first, because there is no blueprints for how to do these things. So we had a limited amount of voices in the room at one time. And then as we really started to catch some momentum, we were ready to bring in everybody at once. So we do have a anticipated schedule for how we're going to continue to work that. So all of the members feel as though they're included in the team, but at the same time, not have too many voices trying to get in on this at one time.
Good deal. Good job.
Anyone else?
I just have another question. So, absenteeism is a conversation that's been going on for years and years and years. Have we seen improvements that we now have this multi-tiered system in place from the last 2 years? It's really kind of been officially here at Tri-Valley. Have you seen improvements with absenteeism?
So
or
the
no?
first year was a pilot. So with the pilot came just learning what Panorama could offer us and really being able to specifically start collecting what information we could get from School Tool, what we could upload to Panorama, and also cleaning up our system. So although it looks like we've been really at this for a while, there was a lot of cleanup that needed to happen. Some of the data and the information that was going into student attendance was not accurate. Just some of our systems weren't being done. Some of our record keeping was not what I would call clean. So the first year was really spent doing a lot of that. It was making sure that the information that was going in was correct information. Last year was the first year that we had Panorama up and kind of operating, where we thought our data was at least looking better. So really, I would like to say that this is the first year that we have all hands on deck, that we have the ability to be able to sort through all of the evidence that we have. We really have the opportunity now to maximize Panorama to the point where we can, yes, look at each student's profile, look at these trends, and nail down some, what would really be called some goals and some progress monitoring that we can do on them throughout the school year. So I feel like this year is probably the first year that we're really having all hands on deck to do the work. Now we've cleaned up a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chris did have his hand up. Chris, are you all set?
Oh.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So we've been super busy up in the secondary school. Our admin team has been everywhere and meeting and fixing some things and really getting the building ready. So behind the scenes, we started some scheduling work back during the school year. We met with our curriculum coordinators to go over anything that they had concerns about with our shell of a schedule. And then we tweaked some items in there. And we've been working now on finalizing those pieces, balancing courses, working on our enrollments, our college courses, and things along those lines. So we're almost at the end of that process. Now, we also incorporated this year, after some feedback, we incorporated a common planning time across all content strands. So it was a thing that was happening in the middle school, but in our secondary level, our 9 through 12, it wasn't really happening. So now we've incorporated those common planning times in this schedule, and we are going to be implementing those professional learning communities that you've been hearing about. So that'll be happening in their day during their times that we have across those strands. We also have been doing some work with the Portrait of a Graduate that was released by New York State. Our pathway opportunities at our school are already aligned to that portrait. We are really lucky to have some really great courses, some really great backups for students in their 4+1 pathway. So as you can see in our areas, we have our CDOS pathway, humanities pathway, STEM pathway, CTE pathway, and an arts pathway. So that means that we have all these options that we already had in place. And now we're mirroring that with the Portrait of a Graduate as they work through their 4 areas that they will be going through for the next few years and eventually hitting in the fall of 2027. So that is a really good sign. We're already 10 steps ahead of a lot of areas because we have all these opportunities already in place. Our credit recovery and August Regents is happening right now. So we have a credit recovery program that we run through Sullivan BOCES, and Ms. Petit kind of spearheaded that, and we'll have more information for you on student numbers and who will be taking our August Regents. That's all hosted at Sullivan BOCES, and we provide the transportation for all those students to attend. Our parent-student handbook, we've been doing our updates as the board has incorporated some new policies and updates there. We've also done that and gone through and really weeded out anything that needed just a general update to bring us back up to speed. Building updates, a huge shout out to our maintenance and building crew. I am seeing them often. They see me and they tend to hide, but they have been phenomenal. They have been painting, they have been asking questions, and they have gone above and beyond this summer. Jesse likes to remind me that this is his last summer with me. So we have been really gung-ho on this, and they've done an amazing job. So I just got to give them a huge shout out because they're dealing with me and everybody else, and they're doing a really great job. That's all I've got. Any questions?
Does the board policy handbook mirror the parent-student handbook? Does that mirror the board policy handbook?
That is the work we'll be doing next week. So we identified board policies that needed to be aligned, or our handbooks needed to be better aligned with our board policies. And that's when we dug through and realized we have some policies that need to be updated in line. So yes, by the end of August, all of our handbooks, our employee handbook, our student handbooks, and our board policies will all say the same thing.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just on the heels of getting back from All-Star Village with my 12-year-old, so I apologize if I rush through this. In the spring, we worked on scheduling as just as much as Ms. Eberly did with her faculty. I met with our faculty at the elementary school, talked about some of the things that they were looking for in their shell of a schedule. We added in a win time, which is what I need. That period is going to be utilized for our AIS service providers, our academic intervention service, as well as the other side of the diamond for MTSS with enrichment. So it'll give other students an opportunity that if they don't need AIS, they'll be able to work on something that they're passionate about in an enrichment period. We are going to utilize our morning instruction for dedicated instruction for our pre-K through 2 grade levels. Pre-K is still going to start their motors running first period, just like they have, but we're going to have less interruptions in the morning instructional time to focus on that core instruction. And then in the afternoon or in the middle of the day, they'll begin to do their mods, their PE, and their lunch and their bear break. We added 10 minutes to that in the schedule. Last year, they only had 10 minutes of a bear break. The teachers were encouraged to take their kids outside throughout the day to get them brain breaks or walks. But with that encouragement still staying in place for this year, we were able to add a 20-minute bear break recess period in for our students. That's for all grades daily. behavioral and expectations. We're maintaining our Bear Award introductions at the beginning of the school year. We'll follow up with them throughout the school year to make sure that they're maintaining what their expectations should be. And we're going to be implementing more opportunities for our students to be recognized, whether it's through attendance, through getting hard work done, improvement, not just the accolades of having honor roll, but everything that leads up to that as well. We're going to be trying to incorporate more recognition for our students. Any questions? All right, a lot of fun summer work.
Thank you.
Good evening. So I wanted to talk about our summer program that we had earlier in July. It was 2 one-week programs. So here at school, we ran Lego and a musical. So the first week, grades 1 and 2, they were in the Lego program. We had first and second graders using our computers to code the Legos. First graders were entering codes for cars to go forwards, backwards, turn around. And second graders were building amusement parks. There was one student, she built a teacup ride, so it actually needed 2 codes. So one on top had the teacup spinning this way, and then it had the base underneath spinning the opposite way. So it was just amazing to see these first and second graders on the floor with their Legos out everywhere, their computers next to them, manipulating all of these coding pieces. It was wonderful. The second week for Legos, we had third and fifth graders who continued on with the amusement parks. They built in a writing piece, a reading piece, and even creating some blueprints with some mathematical coding going on there. Opposite the Lego, we had our musical piece. I know some of you were able to come and watch them. The first week was camp. Our third through fifth graders had 4 days to learn their lines, memorize songs, create their sets, and design their costumes. And so on Thursday, the last day, all the parents were invited, and they put on about a 45-minute musical with everything memorized. It was amazing. And I see some really great future actors and actresses for our high school programs. Our first and second graders put on Meowsicle. So we had a bunch of cats. And again, first and second graders, they memorized their lines, they sang the songs, and they were just adorable on stage in their little cat costumes. Thank you to everyone who came out to see them. Our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders had a coding robot program. So they learned how artificial intelligence and coding is sort of used in our real world today. And then they were able to build some robots. So they started out with just some cars. They were coding on the computers to have the cars manipulate around barriers. They'd bring them out into the hallways, try and bring them into my office or Mr. Snyder's office to see these cars moving. They moved on to dogs, and these robots had some facial recognition, or so you could code it that when it saw a hand or a face, the dog would stop or give a paw or sit. So the kids were really into that. And then finally, they ended with spiders, and you can kind of see up there, I know the spider only has 4 legs, but they had to code each leg separately for the spider to move back and forth or sideways. So by the end of the last week, we had a bunch of spiders at a dance party in the hallway with music going on. So the kids had a lot of fun with that. Our high school also, we have some credit recovery going on. We have 19 students who participated in our summer credit recovery courses. They ran from July 7th to the end of this week. There are regencies happening next Tuesday and Wednesday. We have 98 students who are registered to take all of the different regencies next week. And we do have busing for all of our high school students, and busing was also provided for all of our elementary students thanks to our Title I and IV grants. Does anybody have any questions?
Numbers on the participation.
For this program?
Yeah,
There were
for the summer.
96 total in grades 1 through 8 between the 2 weeks.
Thank you.
I have a question. Were
Yes.
there any children that didn't get to participate, and could we extend this next year? It was wonderful. I got to see the younger musical. It was great. They impressed me.
Every student who applied was able to get in for either program that they wanted, and hopefully next year,
Okay. Are there
Okay.
other grant opportunities that we possibly could look into?
maybe.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I love seeing the building getting used throughout the entire year, and it was Absolutely.
And I think this camp sort of structure worked really well for parents. They could kind of pick 1 week or 2 weeks, whatever sort of fit best in their schedule. So I did hear a lot of appreciation from parents for that.
Kudos to you guys.
Thanks. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. So speaking of the building being used year round, our off-season optional trainings have been going on. We have 8 sports. We had 100 athletes signed up. These are optional trainings, so you show up when you can. They're during various days of the week. I know I'm going to use myself as an example with football. Kids have been excited getting in the weight room and excited for the season to start. I know that's also across the board with our soccer teams, which have been participating. We've also have our basketball teams, which are coming in and while they have time and gym space, they're getting after it. And it's almost my absolute favorite time of year. So our fall participation numbers, before I came down, I just double checked. We actually are up to 80 JV and varsity athletes. And we are up to 33 modified athletes. So those are still open. Parents can still register their kids, and we're approving those athletes daily. It's a major change, but not so much in the public eye. It's more in the behind the scenes, the program I use. Our section is switched from a program called Our School Today to Arbiter Sports. So that is the program the section used to make all the game changes, assign officials, and assign event workers. Other schools use that as well for student registration. We're very fortunate. We're already using Arbiter. So on the public side, there's really no change. Signups are the same. The same link that we had on our website transitioned over with no issue. They've been doing the migration of schedules all summer long. Just yesterday, I got an email that we got our login. So now is kind of crunch time to get in, play around with it. Next Friday, we do our in-person training for it, but it seems like Arbiter has really kind of done a great job with setting that system up, and I don't expect too many complications with that. Obviously, we have our start dates. So JV and varsity sports will start on August 18th, and our modifieds will start on the first day of school, which is September 4th. The final thing, as you know, last year we had all of our scholar athletes from every season here. We had a ton, which is fantastic. We had 75% of our varsity teams qualify as scholar athlete teams, which awarded us as a school of excellence from NISFA. So a great accomplishment to all of our athletes and the hard work that they do. Any questions?
I have a question. Just for parents who have students who are new to JV and varsity sports, how will they find out their summer schedule for practices?
So there will be a parent square going out with practice times. The preseason coaches meeting is tomorrow. And then there's also there was a parent square that went out for a parent meeting on Thursday night. So between the parent square message out and the parent meeting, those practice times will be announced there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The goose population is out of control, and winter or fall sports are starting like Monday, and the population seems to be increasing by the day. And I'm really concerned about like the health and the safety of our students over there. Are we doing anything to try to mitigate this? Because it seems to be getting worse and worse and worse and not improving at all. And at the Bear Bash, just to look at the track, it was pretty disgusting.
So we did some research into like those fake coyotes, and the feedback that we got wasn't great. It's kind of like the geese are smart and they figure it out. So that wasn't really the best course of action, but it's something constantly to look into.
This is something we need to aggressively pursue because it is really pretty bad. I mean, we walk the track, and we have decided to not walk the track, to walk down at the ball field because of the nature of the track right now. So I know the DEC probably has to get involved because we're a school district, but it's not improving by any means. And I'm really concerned with our kids, football. We know what they're doing out there. You know, the soccer kids as well. So.
We really need to take this seriously because, it's a health issue for our kids. There's a lot of bird flu going around and people could get the bird flu. So we really need to look at that and reach out to people that can do something for us. Unfortunately, you're right. It's a big roadblock, but the more you get out there, the more you say, I think maybe we can get something done. But Gary's right. It's a serious, serious issue, and we're putting our kids out there to play in that stuff. I mean, I have a farm. I don't even let my kids play in that shit. I'm sorry, but I'm frustrated about the situation.
Yeah, I think, one of the difficulties is just the sheer landscape that we have here, and every field is used. So you fix the problem over there, they go here. You fix the problem here, they go over there. But, I agree, and it's something that we have to figure out.
Aside from the coyotes, are there any other options? Pardon my ignorance. I just genuinely don't know.
Just a second. Right?
So down at the airport in Ellenville, we have the same problem. And what we've learned is that it's very difficult to get the help from the DEC and so on. And we've learned that the most effective thing is to annoy the hell out of them by driving around, maybe in this case with a golf cart, with a horn constantly blowing until they totally leave the premises. And then if they go to the other field, you just have to get up there and do the same thing. If you do it enough, they get the message. We're having tremendous luck with that. And like I said, you can't just beep a little. You got to lay it on.
Oh, Aaron, that's great. I could see.
We have to have a senior that wants to do that. We have to.
We've got student workers that love those golf carts. They'll be out there tomorrow with those horns.
Thank you. Oh, I have another question. Can you break down the varsity and JV and the modified numbers of each sport? Take football, for example, for the first one. How many we got? Because you could have everybody, you could have the 70 out for football,
Yep.
which we used to have. So how does it break down for the male, the boys, for varsity?
So I can give you the football number. I don't have all of them in my head though. Last time we had 14 signed up for football, with another 4 that have been coming to weight room, and I've been badgering them to actually sign up for the official season, and they haven't yet. So I anticipate being around 16, 17
For varsity.
for varsity football.
What about, do we have a JV program?
We do not.
Do we have a modified program?
We do.
And what's the numbers there?
I honestly, off the top of my head, I have to look that up.
Soccer female.
We were at 6 for JV. So right now, if the numbers stay the same, we'll do a varsity and a modified program and not have a JV. And we had 11 for varsity.
And what do you have for modified?
We had another, want to say 8, but please don't quote me on that.
And the boys?
Boys, I'm going to have to look up. But I can get you, before we leave tonight, I can get you the.
No, it's something to look at. That's all I'm looking for,
Yeah,
numbers.
our right now, I know we have 2 for girls tennis. And right now, the only team other than modified, I'm just talking JV and varsity, that's starting soon. The only one in jeopardy of not having enough is that JV girls soccer. And we have that plan in place where we're not going to deny kids an opportunity to play. They'll have somewhere to play.
Do we have coaches ready in case we do have numbers for that?
Yep. So what we would do is we would move Victoria from JV to modified, have Kayla and Andrea for varsity.
JV?
So if we need a JV coach, I have someone in the background, but kind of knowing the situation and how things were going to play out just on past years. That's why we kind of did it the way we did.
Thank you.
Are the numbers lower than they were last year this time?
So I'll have to compare to this time of year. I have this debate with the football committee at the section level where, and I know I'm speaking on football, but it's just what's in my head right now, where even when your son played, right? We started the season almost not being able to have the scrimmage we were hosting because we didn't have enough, and we end with like 26. So I think if you compare starting numbers versus ending numbers, they're going to seem down right now, but we're not going to deny a kid an opportunity to play. If they can't get here in August, but they show up on the first day of school, as long as we're not the number isn't, or the team isn't at max capacity, we're not going to say no. So I think that's probably why it seems lower. It's because we're kind of constantly growing throughout the year.
Definitely think that transportation aspect can affect numbers. A lot of people rely on school buses to get to school, and so if they don't have that transportation, how can they join a sport?
Are we actively recruiting? I mean, are we reaching out to these kids? Because there was some presentations said that the more the kids are involved in extracurricular, the more success they have academically.
Yep, absolutely.
So are we out there trying to pull these kids in?
Yep. So I sent out I call it an interest survey back at the end of last school year to the 6th grade through 11th grade, and then use that information with the coaches so that they can go out and it helps to know who is interested. And amongst that, I mean, our coaches and our phys ed teachers are fantastic at just constantly recruiting the kids. I being in 7th grade, 8th grade lunch this year and recess, like being out there, seeing a kid that has some skill and wasn't participating, it was an opportunity for me to kind of do my best to get them what they need to come out and play.
Do you feel the success of the track program is pulling from the other sports? I see there's numbers there.
Not significantly. I mean, everybody loves to win. So I mean, it definitely, if you're looking for hardware, it's a good place to go. But I think we have really successful teams and really great coaches, and I think we have the potential to kind of be successful on all those teams. So I don't necessarily think it's the track program pulling.
Thank you.
One last thing. This is just not an athletic thing, but it came to my mind, and this is a question for everyone. Does the high school do any type of, I'm going to call it a career day, but maybe something similar for the 6th graders where it's all the clubs, extracurriculars, and each sports team have like an hour out of the day or 2 hours towards the end of the school year that can kind of get them brainstorming over the summer. These are 6th graders going to 7th grade and being like, oh, I've never played ASO before, but I saw them at this career fair or whatever we would call it. Maybe just engaging, showing our younger students what we have to offer when they come back in the fall.
I think that's a great idea. I will also say one of the biggest sign-up nights for Modified is 7th grade locker night. I sit at a table with the computer up, and it is a great success on getting kids to sign up.
This is very common this time of year where athletes all of a sudden realize, oh no, practice starts Monday. And so I am sure you will see between tonight and Sunday night, many more signups because we're fielding teams. We've got kids out there playing, but usually you look at the calendar and realize, it'll be there at 3:00 on Monday. So I anticipate we'll have many more, but it's a great idea. One of the things Bryn did last year as part of her civics project, is she went and met with the sixth graders and talked to them about what you need to do to be successful. So not only did Will do a wonderful speech at sixth grade graduation about that, but she went to each classroom and talked to them about getting involved and being engaged and joining clubs and playing sports and getting into the music program, because it just makes it such a well-rounded experience for kids. So it's a great idea to add that to it, you know. Mhm.
Any others? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Moving to item number 5 is the superintendent's report from Ms. Erin Wong.
Thank you. I want to start by reading a letter that we just received from Katie Rowe from she's the Professional Development Director for the New York State Agricultural Education Outreach Program. It says, "Dear Superintendent Long and Tri-Valley Board of Education, during the June 2025 New York State Association of Agricultural Educators Conference, Tara Burke was recognized with an Outstanding Service Citation. The Outstanding Service Citation is presented to a person who has dedicated time, talents, and leadership to agriculture, education, and FFA. Agriculture education transcends the boundaries of a classroom, shaping lives, influencing consumers, and driving innovation and stability. It is a privilege to honor someone whose work has made that impact possible. Tara is an advocate and a servant leader who has been a cornerstone of support for over 2 decades. Thank you again for supporting the agriculture education program at Tri-Valley. An exemplary agricultural education programming requires the support of many facets in the community. And on behalf of the NYAAE, we recognize Tri-Valley Central School District and Tara as key partners in the New York State agricultural education." It was really nice to get that. So just a quick overview of the last couple of weeks. I think our admin team has set it great. We have just been cranking this summer. I feel like we're going into the last couple of weeks of August in such great shape. If we had to open up Tuesday, we would be ready to go with everything that we have going on. I'm so impressed with everyone's work. Last week, we had an extremely successful Bear Bash. It was a great community event, and I want to thank all of our community partners and our Grahamsville Fire Department for making sure the food was flowing the whole time. We served over 500 people. We had bounce houses. We had some of our community partners, a touch-a-truck experience for the first time that was fantastic. We had SWAT cars out there, state police. We had fire departments. We had the DEP there. We had bucket trucks, and the kids, everywhere they went, they got a trinket or a fireman's hat or something. We had somebody from Rolling V with a school bus. That was excellent. We had wonderful representation from our Youth Little League, our agricultural department, who gave away fruit, food, gardening food, eggs that they have been harvesting from their chickens. Our Frost Valley YMCA was there giving away treats. Our Daniel Pierce Library was there, and then our PTO donated and served hundreds of dishes of ice cream, hundreds of dishes. I think Mrs. Berkey still has arthritis in her hand from, yeah. So it was a really great evening, and we were thankful that the weather broke a little bit. It was wonderful for us. Great way for us to kick off our school year. Corey, I sent you something earlier. I'm not sure if you have that up there about our mission and vision. Okay, awesome. So at your table, you will notice this document right here, and it is our proposed mission and vision and belief statements. So as we've mentioned, we've been doing a lot of work on our professional learning communities and looking at what a portrait of a graduate from Tri-Valley should look like. We started this process last year when our opening days, we did a jigsaw puzzle with our teams of teachers and staff and asked them to identify keywords that would outline what we thought was going to be a portrait of a graduate. And so we sort of paused that for a little bit because we were waiting on the state and the Board of Regents to make the final adoption, and they just did that. So we went right back to the work. We pulled out the work from our staff, and we kind of customized some of the language And we'd like to present to you just our thoughts of where we want to go with our mission and where we want to go with our vision. And just a reminder, a mission kind of defines our current purposes and our core activities, and our vision statement is going to outline where we want to be. So this language came from all of our staff, and then just customizing and putting in a really key word you're going to hear a lot this year. So we like the mission statement that says Tri-Valley ensures all learners are prepared for the future through meaningful learning that builds curiosity, resilience, and confidence. That word ensures is going to be embedded in everything that we do. And our vision statement proposal is Tri-Valley aspires to be a forward-thinking school community that ensures excellence and empowers all learners to thrive. We also created our beliefs, and these are our core beliefs are for all of our students. And we use the acronym BEAR. The B stands for Believe in Every Child. Every student deserves a high quality, engaging education that meets their unique needs and potential. E is Empower through collaboration. Learning communities grow stronger through trust, teamwork, and a shared purpose. And you can hear that development happening with what Jen just shared and in the professional learning training that we've been going through this summer. It's not more work, it is the work that we should be doing. We're not asking to put anything on people's plates. We're taking stuff off their plates actually because we're putting it all together. The A, always reflect and grow. Professional growth is a continuous journey rooted in reflection and focused on student success. R is rely on data, not limits. Data guides our decisions, but never defines our child's capabilities. So we really are focused on the whole child. And then S is strengthening partnerships. Families and community are the essential partners in supporting every student's journey. So I would like you to think about that, give me some feedback, and if it sits well with you and we are all a consensus, I would like to adopt these for our August 28th board meeting, and then you will see them reflected in all of our handbooks. We were looking at that blank blue wall today at our meeting this morning and thinking, boy, those beliefs would look really nice stenciled over there. But really to take all the work in putting our mission and vision to where we are now, Tri-Valley, and where we want Tri-Valley to be in the upcoming years. I also want to take a second to thank our business office, and that is Rich and Kim and Melody and Sam, and then Martha is, a substitute in our office often. This has been a diligent and lengthy process in trying to clean up our systems, ensuring everything has been coded correctly, making sure all the appropriations are accurate. And it's been a ton of collaboration with BOCES because we use the central business office often. And so I cannot thank them enough. They have been cranking to get things organized and cleaned up, and really appreciate that. Rich has also been very mindful of our investments and has us hooked up with NICLAS. So we are ensuring every day that we are maximizing our interest in our with some of our reserves, and an excellent job. I also want to again thank all of our facilities people, our maintenance and custodial, and our student workers. You can just see how beautiful the colors are, and how beautiful the grounds are. Minus the geese, it is really, the place is shining. It's just beautiful, and I'm so proud. My husband was here the other day walking around the campus, and he came back and said, "Boy, this place is really nice, and it's really everybody's hard work." Just a reminder that on October 23rd through the 25th is our NYSBA conference in New York City. If you are interested in attending, please let us know. Registration opened up today. So I would think there's enough rooms in that hotel that we were in last year, but it was a wonderful learning experience for many of us. So if you are interested, just let Sam or I know and we'll get everyone registered. Policy committee members, we will be meeting next Thursday from 5 to 7 right here to go over those policies. And Mr. Dean asked that I prioritize the policies, so the ones we really need to focus on in case we run out of time. So I will get that information to you. I absolutely have to thank my leadership team. We have been, we work in this room every day, 8:30 to 11:30, Monday through Thursday, and super focused on cell phone policies and working on our professional learning communities and updating our handbooks. And it's really been a tremendously busy, fun, productive summer, and I can't thank them enough for all of their hard work. And then last, I just want to turn this over to Rich. He's going to follow up from last meeting, George, that you had a question on our bond.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So we have one bond for, and I did give a copy of this to everybody. It should be here. We have one bond that was for $4.5 million that was issued in 2021. It was a great time to issue bonds. Interest rates were almost zero at that time. So the interest rate it rises, but it goes from 0.75 to 2%. Over the term of it, and it has the breakdown here of where they rise. Currently, paying this full term, we would be paying $625,000 interest, which sounds like a big number. But if we left that money sitting in the bank at 2%, which is way less than we're earning, it would be 1.57 million. So almost $900,000 we're profiting by not paying off the bond. Obviously, at some point, the interest rate reaches 2% at the bond. And at that point, if interest rates drop, then we may have to look at. But at this point, it wouldn't be fiscally responsible to do it. It's, we're making money on it.
When does that want to mature?
That matures in 2036.
And do we have any other ones? Is that
No,
the only one we
That's
have?
the only bond we have. Yeah. There has been some really well planned through the years use of building reserves and not putting us into a lot of debt. And that's looks like for many years.
Thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Moving to item 6 is items the board would like pulled from tonight's agenda. Anything? Okay, moving to item number 7, the consent agenda. It's an action. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? The entire consent agenda. Motion
Second.
by Nicole, second by Jerry. Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the entire consent agenda categories 8 through 11.
I do want to take a second to introduce our 3 new staff members at Tri-Valley. Jillian Backus, if you could stand up, Jillian. So Jillian's going to be joining us this year in the elementary school as a long-term sub. Welcome. And Layla Johnson's also going to be joining us as a long-term sub. And then Josh Smith is joining us as our Spanish teacher. So, well, we got a little bit of a shocker with Lisa. Things happen for a reason, and Josh stepped in at the right time, and we bamboozled him into coming in for a quick interview. And so we're really excited to have all 3 of you be a part of our Tri-Valley team. Congratulations.
Okay, moving to item 12 is board committee reports. George, anything?
Are you going to talk about the Suffolk County School Board meeting? You going to talk?
No, this is board committee.
Policy Committee report. Committee met. Time it started at 4:43. Ms. Woods, Mr. Stevens, Ms. Berkey, and myself were there, and Aaron, and we discussed policy number 5695. It's in reference to cell phones in schools. We finally got it done for the betterment of the Tri-Valley. And it was approved the following day. And it was unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, moving to item number 13 is old business. We didn't have anything? Okay. Moving to item 14 is public comment session for items that are not in tonight's agenda. I have no one signed up. Item 15 is announcements, reminders, and upcoming events. Anything to add to that? No? Okay. Item 16, new business. 13 items. We'll try to go through them as quickly as possible. First one, 16A, contract for cooperative services, Form AS-7 is in action. Can I have a motion to approve the contract for cooperative services, Form AS-7?
Motion.
Motion by Rose,
Second.
second by Nicole. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education has hereby approved the contract for cooperative educational services, Form AS-7 between Sullivan, BOCES, and the Tri-Valley Central School District in the amount of $2,858,719.65 as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Moving to item number 16 is Business Associate Agreement. It is in action. Can I have a motion to accept 16B Business Associate Agreement?
Motion.
Motion by Jerry. Second by Kerry. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the business associate agreement between the County of Sullivan and the Tri-Valley Central School District as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Moving to item 16C is the memorandum of agreement. It is in action. Can I have a motion to accept the memorandum of agreement, item 16C?
Motion.
Motion by Rose, second by Nicole. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the 2025 to 2028 memorandum of agreement between Mr. Aaron Butler and the Tri-Valley Central School District as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Moving to item number 16D is memorandum of agreement. It is in action. Can I have a motion to accept item 16D, memorandum of agreement? Motion by Kerry, second by Jerry. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the 2025 to 2026 memorandum of agreement between Mr. Kevin Credelli and the Tri-Valley Central School District as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Moving to item number 16E is a memorandum of agreement. It is in action. Can I have a motion to accept 16E memorandum of agreement?
Motion.
Motion by George, second by
Second.
Nicole. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the 2025 to 2026 memorandum of agreement between Ms. Mrs. Kimberly Petit, and the Tri-Valley Central School District as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Moving to item number 16F is another memorandum of agreement. It is an action. Can I have a motion
Motion.
for agreement 16F? Motion by George, motion by Jerry, second by Kerry. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the 2025 to 2028 Memorandum of Agreement between Mr. Jesse Bell and the Tri-Valley Central School District as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Moving to item number 16G is another memorandum of agreement. It's an action. Can I have a motion to accept the Memorandum of Agreement 16G?
Motion.
Motion by Nicole. Second.
Second.
Second by Rose. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the 2025 to 2028 Memorandum of Agreement between Mr. Carlton Duck and the Tri-Valley Central School District as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Moving to item number 16H is another Memorandum of Agreement. It is an action. Can I have a motion to approve 16H Memorandum of Agreement?
Second.
Motion by Rose, second by Jerry. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education is hereby approve the 2025 to 2028 memorandum. Maybe I got that one wrong. I am on for H, right? Okay. Memorandum of Agreement between the Tri-Valley Teachers Association and the Tri-Valley Central School District is attached to the public portion of the agenda. Moving to item number 16I, it is another memorandum of agreement. It is an action. Can I have a motion to approve the 16I memorandum of agreement? Motion by Kerry, second. Second by Jerry. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the 2025 to 2028 Memorandum of Agreement between Mrs. Brianna Commando and the Tri-Valley Central School District as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Moving to item number 16J is another memorandum of agreement. It is an action. Can I have a motion to accept motion 16J memorandum of agreement amendment?
So move.
Motion by George,
Second.
second by Rose. Second by Rose. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the amendment to the 2024 to 2027 Memorandum of Agreement between Mrs. Samantha Dams and the Tri-Valley Central School District as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Moving to item number 16K is the Mid-Hudson Regional Information Center Resolution. It is an action. Can I have a motion to approve the 16K Mid-Hudson Regional Information Center Resolution? Motion? Motion by Nicole. Second?
Second.
Second by Rose. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. This is going to be a minute.
Summarize the
Is
last
that what you want to
paragraph.
be resolved? Okay.
Yeah, last sentence.
Thank you. Be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Tri-Valley Central School District authorizes the attorneys designated by the ROC to negotiate and approve of DPAS for software and/or technology resources, and be it further resolved, the Tri-Valley Central School District Board of Education grants the ROC and its designated attorneys the authority to negotiate the terms and conditions of DPAs and take such actions as to effectuate the purposes and intent of the resolution. Moving to item number 16L is a tuition-based services agreement. It is an action. Can I have a motion for 16L, tuition-based services agreement?
Motion.
Motion by Jerry. Second. Second by Kerry. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education is hereby approve the preschool tuition-based services agreement between Sullivan County Department of Public Health and the Tri-Valley School District as attached to the public portion of the agenda. And last but not least, item 16M, 2024 to 2025 Health and Welfare Services Contract. It is an action. And I have a motion to approve 16M, 2024 to 2025 Health and Welfare Services Contract. Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Nicole. Oh, motion by Rose. Second by Nicole. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the 2024 to 2025 Health and Welfare Services Contract between the Eldred School District and the Tri-Valley Central School District in the amount of $3,669.60 as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Moving to item number 17 is board comment session. Jerry?
I'd like to thank everybody for their presentations and welcome you, Chris.
Thank you, Kerry.
Wanted to welcome the new staff who are joining us. School year is starting, and you know how I feel about college and college courses being available here at Tri-Valley. I am on my third child going through college tours, and every school that we have gone to is very impressed that such a small school like ours has college credits that transfer to higher institutions, which is a huge, huge, huge cost savings when they transfer from our school. So any people that are listening that have high school kids, take advantage of the college credits that are offered here, because it really is something that is beneficial, and I don't think enough families take advantage of it. So, and the last thing is we have a lot of kids who graduated last year that are heading off onto their next adventure. So I just want to wish them all well, and moms and dads, hang in there, because it'll be good. So, and welcome, Chris.
Rose?
The only thing I had to say was welcome to Christopher. you're a brave soul, but don't be afraid to speak up.
Nicole?
I'd just like to thank everyone who has helped me make my volunteer club. It was somewhere in 16, I think it was 16H, was approving for an advisor. It's taken a lot. It's been very challenging to get the club started, but I've seen so much interest from the students, and I really believe that I could connect the students with the help of staff and other students, local businesses, to volunteer opportunities that can really benefit the community and help connect us more in our community.
Great, thank you.
I have
Cool.
nothing other than welcome.
And all I have is welcome to the education machine, because everything in education moves really slow. So you're going to have to get used to it. Okay, moving to item number 18. I was hoping you would, you have about 3 seconds.
I'd like to welcome the student to our team here. It's important that you share what the students are thinking, but we know the path we should go down and try to nurture that along with what we have to do with policies and stuff. So you are very important to this board. So don't be afraid to have something to say. If you follow my lead, you'll do all right. Just like to give the maintenance crew a shout out. We have a very good facility here, and in reality, this school wouldn't open if it wasn't for the maintenance, because they're the ones that do everything before we get here, especially when snow flies. They're here, they're opening up, and it's gorgeous and it's safe. Something I'd like to talk about, which was mentioned a little bit. You put me on a path a number of, well, it was a couple of years ago now, in reference to lights at the track. And I was put in that position to check it out. And at that time, I shared the thoughts there. And, you know, lights are great. It would be a great addition here. What value do we put on that if we're only going to use it a couple of times a year? That expense is over $2 million. And I didn't realize it was that much. And that's why I pushed it, investigate it. But it is substantial investment. Is there a payback for it? Another thing is a generator for the school. That also was talked about years ago. At one time, we thought we were going to have it because the school was going to be designated a relief, a disaster relief. But it had to have certain criteria, and that was when we were building the auditorium. And the auditorium had to be separate from the school, had to be closed down for it couldn't go, anybody couldn't go in the rest of the school. And where it is, it's absolutely, you can't do it. So that was, it fell through. It talked about having the theater down here instead of where it is. Also, over the years, we talked about at great lengths when I was on the board initially back in the 90s, synthetic turf at the track in the football field. And that was substantial discussion on that. And what we learned was an eye-opener to all of us, because wow, you know, everybody'd love to have that. But believe it or not, it causes more injuries because there is no relief. Once you set your foot, it's there. It doesn't go anywhere. Also, it's much harder than an actual turf that we have now, grass. So what we did, because we were having injuries, and that's why we looked at it. And the surface was getting very hard because of the nature of the material that's out there. So what we did, we bought into the Scott's program for 3 years, and it turned that athletic field around. And the injuries was being limited, and the field had growth on it, and we took care of it. So that might be something to think about if we have to do something in the future. I want to shout out to the FFA advisor. That's quite an accomplishment. How many students do we have in FFA?
Several. I can't give you a number. We have a lot.
The last I heard, because of the banquet and stuff, was over 300 and some in the program.
Mm.
That is really, really great for Tri-Valley. I mean, somebody must be doing something right.
We actually were just contacted by the New York State School Boards Association because Tri-Valley's name was given to them, and they're going to come and interview Tara and I to talk about our agricultural program.
That was very important over the years, and that's why we developed it here in our community, because of it. And that's why we added another greenhouse, because there was a need for it. What was our loss in regards to not having that greenhouse up and running for our program? How much of a loss was it? I was totally unaware of it. I don't know how it got by me, but it wasn't mentioned. The gymnasium in the auditorium or in the elementary is finally done. On budget and on time.
Under budget and on time.
And I stood up there, my initial board meeting, we did a walkthrough. I stood up there and said, who would put a drop ceiling in a gymnasium? And here we are today, 3 years later, finally getting it done. Architects will sell you anything. My point is, sometimes a lot of this stuff in regards to building and maintenance needs to be maybe brought out a little bit more, because it's fiduciary responsibility of the board is important. And we need to plan for that in case there is a situation. We really lucked out, and the superintendent really went overboard to get a grant. And I think that was great to get that grant, and that's going to cover the expense. And I give kudos to her. But we really need to look at these kind of things a little quicker. So if we could, maybe put that in our toolbox that we need to discuss, when we're more ready or available for it if it comes to happen again. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to item 18, adjournment. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Whoa.
Second.
Second by Nicole.
Third, fourth.
Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
I want to do when the full board is here. It's unanimous, and the board is adjourned at 7:44 p.m. Thank you, and have a great night.